Hey, beautiful people. How are you doing? Okay, so actually today I am filming two videos, but they're gonna come out different times. So I'm wearing the same clothes. That's why. But I really wanted to talk about this topic because it's something that hit me this weekend, and it hit me like I feel like it's been coming. The lesson has been coming, but you know that thing when you're resistant, when the ancestors, the heavens, everything, and everybody's like pushing, and you're like, no. That was me. Like I was like, no. I was like, this is not happening. I don't want to do this. It's not that I didn't want to do it. Actually, I feel like I just didn't feel. I just didn't feel like I could. I feel like I didn't know if I could. Like, everyone always says it, like, you need to love yourself. But what the hell does that even mean? Like, what does, of course I love myself. What does that mean? Like, what you mean don't love myself? What does that mean? And, woo, that's been something. That's been the lesson for me. This last couple weeks is how do you love yourself? Um, so if you know me and if you've listened to my podcast, which you should check out, I talk about love a lot. I love love. I love, like, if love was something you could marry or you could buy or you could own, I would take it. Like, I love love. I think love is beautiful. It's, even in its tragedy, it's beautiful. It's powerful. It's messy. It's, love is beautiful. I love love, guys. I love love. And also, if you can tell, I watch a lot of TV and read a lot of novels, but I love love. But I just could never understand what people meant when they said I need to learn to love myself, because I do love myself, and I feel like I've always loved myself. I have never hated myself. So I mean, I love myself. It's not like I tolerated myself. Of course I love myself. And I did all the things that people do when they love themselves. I cared for my self-interest, blah 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 blah. I cared for myself. But this week, like, when little random things happen, and I'm a very specific person. Like, I remember, like, when we were in high school, and I think there was somebody who was praying about, the weight, and praying to God for your Boaz, and, praying for God to send you your man, your one, your king, okay? You had to pray for him, but you had to be specific. I see. Now that was a teaching that I took to heart, and I was like, look, grocery list of what I need in a man, exactly what he's gonna look like, what he's gonna talk like, how he's gonna treat me in every situation. Like you don't have a thing when you're like, something happens and you're like, you know what? If the love of my life was here, things would be different. If the love of my life was out here holding me down, this would be different. And then you realize that, damn, okay, love is beautiful. And I started asking the question, like, what would be different if the love of my life was here, right? So, for me, the love of my life cooks. The love of my life cooks, because I hate to cook. I loathe it. And I was like, okay, so the love of my life cooks, but if the love of my life cooking for me is him showing me that he loves me, why is it that me cooking for myself is not something I can equate and consider to a love of my own? Right? Are you hearing me? Like, I'm gonna say it again for the people at the back, okay? Because you might have missed that. If the love of my life cooking for me is something I consider an act of love, then why is it that when I cook for myself, I don't consider it an act of love? Right? It gets you thinking. It really got me thinking. And that train of thought was kind of like something I started and I left because I was like, this is too hard, man. Like, this is too hard. But I recently started doing this thing where I begin to actively ask myself, what would it be? What would the love of my life do for me if he was here? Okay, so the love of my life would wake up early, okay, and he would look and watch me whilst I sleep. And I'd wake up and he would be like, yay, beautiful thing. I just had to watch you. I just had to meditate upon your greatness and your awesomeness. See? You're like, oh, but you need a boyfriend for that. But do you? Do you really need a boyfriend to satisfy the need of starting your day in a place of celebration of yourself? So what I do now for me is when I wake up early, than my alarm, I always take the time to say good things to myself. I always say all the things I love about myself, like I love my hair, I love my skin, I love my this, I love my that. I just say all these positive things about myself to myself. Is it easy? I don't know. I feel like, of course, I feel like if when the love of my life finally comes around to my life and is saying it to me, it won't feel the same. But you know what? This is a love, and it's a worthy love. And starting to list all the moments when I'm like, oh, the love of my life would do this, or this need, or that want that the love of my life would fulfill, and fulfilling it for myself has been how I have begun to understand what loving yourself is. I don't always feel like it's love. It doesn't always feel like love. It doesn't feel like love when I take myself on a date. It doesn't always feel, it's not a romantic love. And I won't lie and be like, oh my gosh, and then I'm like so satisfied, like, ooh, no. I mean, I'm not there, but I'm definitely beginning to honor the things that I can do for myself, the things I can provide for myself. Not because, oh, once I provide it, I don't need it anymore, but because I also need to learn what it looks like to love myself. So if I was my own lover, if I was to love on myself, what would be the things that I would be doing for me to show myself that I love myself? Trust me, it's not an easy thing. Okay, actually it's an easy list, because that might be hard for you. Be like, what would be the perfect guy? If this was the perfect guy of your dreams, or the perfect girl of your dreams, was to come, what would they do for you? What value would they add into your life? How would it be like? Who makes the bed? What are the things they would do for you that you'll be like, wow, I feel so loved? Husband be like, oh, what's so, like, oh, my lover does this, my lover does that, my lover is this, my lover is that. What is your lover to you? And what can your lover do for you? And when you make out that list, then switch around and then say, how can I love myself in these ways right now, right where I am? Like, this is great for people who are single like me, but I also think it's great for people who just are in relationships, because you also need to figure out how to satisfy your own needs and your own wants and your own desires, because you recognize them and you call them out for what they are. To self-love, honestly, is hard. It is hard because it doesn't feel the same. Like, my prayer and my hope and my desire and my question to the universe is, I want to get to a point where loving myself feels as good as being loved by somebody else, or at least very closely. But right now it feels like duty. It feels like loving myself is waking up on time and telling myself nice things about myself. Loving myself right now is looking in the mirror and complimenting myself. Loving myself is not judging myself when I mess up, being stern, like, oh, you shouldn't have, but also still loving myself. That one is the hardest part, I feel like, because I don't know if my lover was as harsh with me as I am with myself, we would not have a relationship. So my lover is a very gentle person, in the sense of, whilst they encourage me to be better, they're somebody who is constantly doing so in love, with respect, with compassion, with understanding, with good timing. They don't kick me when I'm down, or sometimes they let me sit with it. So I'm practicing all those things that I expect from somebody else as a form of self-love. It doesn't always feel nice though. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I feel like sometimes I want to tell you, but it doesn't always feel nice. But so far in this journey, it feels satisfying. It feels freeing, because at least now I know what self-love looks like. Not in a cutie, theoretical, cute quote way, but in a really realistic way. I don't know. Look, I would love to know what self-love looks like to you, and how you figure out what love looks like, what self-love, loving yourself, looks like in action for you. And does it even have to be in action? I would love to hear that, because I feel like sometimes I do feel like I'm the only one going through this, and sometimes I do feel like, oh, maybe I'm just crazy. But hey, I don't know. Like, sometimes I'm not sure, honestly. Like, sometimes I'm like, do I only feel like this because I'm single, or I've been single for 5 years? Or do I feel this way because, and should I meet all my own needs? Because maybe if I meet them, then I will never find somebody. I don't know the answers to any of this. I am as confused as you must be listening to this. But you know what I do know is there is something empowering. I feel empowered when I love myself. I feel empowered when I do things for myself, because the things that I'm doing for myself and I'm not waiting for somebody else. I feel in control. I feel happy. I feel satisfied. I feel more confident that when people come into my life, I am now able to exactly know how I want to be loved, and I also being able where I can show them how I want to be loved, because I love myself that much and I've set the standard of what that looks like. But it's like I said, it's a journey and I'm working on it, and I would love to know how you're working on it. Is it the journey you're on? Where's your journey? And yeah, I don't know, guys. Talk to me. Sometimes I feel like I'm talking to an empty void, and also like talking to the camera. Whilst I do feel like I'm now very comfortable seeing my own face, I do wish I could hear back what you guys say, and I love it when you guys comment and everything. So just let me know what you think. And yeah, talk soonest. I love you. You're beautiful. You're amazing, and I am so glad you're alive, and I am so glad you're here, and I hope your week, your day, your month, whatever moment you watch this in, I hope it is a beautiful one. Till next time.